Well, this is a surprise. This was a huge, huge surprise. Now, the last Oz Perkins, the writer and director of The Monkey, last one of his movies I saw was Longlegs, and I enjoyed about 80% of it, but then the reveal at the end just kind of killed it for me. So all I knew about The Monkey was that it was produced by James Wan, written and directed by Oz Perkins. It's based off a short story by Stephen King, and it stars Theo James. Um, I went in with no expectations and, just kind of expecting a maybe too serious movie about a killer toy monkey. It is not that. It is not that at all. This movie. You want to what? Let me just get out of the way. I have to give two scores. I have to give one as an audience member and I have to give one as an actual critic. Now, if you are a horror movie lover, and if you're a fan of something like Saw, Final Destination, or even anything remotely Stephen King, this movie's for you. This movie is 100% for you. It is enjoyment through and through. It is well paced, well acted, well written, well directed, well shot. Like all the effects are fucking phenomenal. It is a blast. It is a blast, a blast, a blast. This thing is wild, absolutely ridiculous. I give it as an audience member and as like a horror fan, it's an easy 9 out of 10. It never once feels too long or tedious in the slightest. It is almost pitch fucking perfect. It is so well executed. It is insane. Now, as a more critical perspective, the score does go down a little bit. I'd give it closer to more like the lowest I'll give it is a 7. The highest I'll give it is an 8. And the reason for that is because, there's no real grand message. There's no theme that maybe there's something a little bit about baggage, but there's no real. This isn't really an artsy, thought-provoking film or cinema that is meant to be, thought and looked over. This is sit down, shut the fuck up. I got something for you, and you're going to enjoy it. It is bloody, gory, good fun. And this movie knows what it is. It is handled by someone who understands what they're making, and it is executed flawlessly in that regard. Like I said, it's as much as I want to give it that 10 because I came out of it with a big smile on my face. I can't. Objectively, this is not something like, Shawshank or Green Mile. It's ridiculous to think that way. But in terms of Stephen King adaptations and in terms of like a high quality horror movie that commits, this is that movie. Theo James does a phenomenal job playing Hal and Billy. And the kid that plays Petey, he was phenomenal too. And someone better look this up for me, but he looks so much like a version of young Ron Perlman. Goodness gracious. I couldn't get that out. But there are so many surprises in this movie. So many, I don't want to say, it's not even a matter of twists and turns. This movie is a bit predictable. It does fall into a couple of tropes here and there. And I will admit, this does feel like a Stephen King kind of story. It's set in Maine. There's some weird, goofy kills. There's some, weird, arbitrary bullshit about the horror, like MacGuffin. But it is so committed to what it is that it is so easily forgiven in terms of, some, less than stellar aspects, such as, the story, which does have a couple predictable moments, Like there's especially towards the end, there are several moments where you're just like, is that going to happen? And then 5 minutes later, oh yeah, it did happen. But it's ridiculous in all the best ways. It is entertaining in all the best ways. And I will say this, if you know nothing about this movie, go in and see it for yourself. I highly recommend that you go see this movie. Despite Longlegs being that more thought-provoking and like really like just artsy kind of film, this kind of proves that sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. And just because this movie was made by the guy that did Longlegs doesn't mean you're going to get Longlegs. This is something else. This is something else. This is in the same realm as Final Destination or, Saw. It is a gore fest in the best way possible. Go see it. It is well worth your money. Don't even see it for a matinee. Don't see a matinee price. You go opening night, full price. As the Spill crew used to say, full price. And in many ways, I'd say it's better than sex, but go see this movie. It is well worth your time. I'm keeping this short and brief like the movie, Go see it. It is well worth your money. That's it.